Alrighty, here we are. Hi, everybody. My name is Gretchen Huebner, and I am one of the founders of Codable. I am so excited to talk with Iowa educators today about the Hour of Code, why it's important, how you can get started, and just all of the great things that entails. I've got with me here Angel Mendez. She is from the governor's office. She works in the organization called Iowa STEM, and she is in charge of all the communications and marketing for them and making sure that you guys know about all the wonderful things that they're doing. We've been working together for a little while, kind of figuring out how to improve, the things that are offered to Iowa educators for computer science. We've been learning a lot about all the great things that they've been doing and how we can help. And so I'm really excited to have her speak with you guys. But first, I want to just quickly go over some of the things we're going to be talking about. We're going to go over the Hour of Code, what it is, why it's relevant. I think that if you're here, you probably already know all of that, so we'll go over it quickly. And then we'll talk a little bit about what to expect and how you can prepare. And then what I'm really excited about is how to prepare so that you can go beyond an hour of code. That's a big thing that we've been hearing a lot about from people this year is, this is a kickoff for me for the rest of my school year. And some people, they've done it before. Other people, this is their first attempt at doing the Hour of Code. And so they're, excited, but a little bit apprehensive about what to expect. And so we're just going to go through some of the things you can do to prepare so that you're off and rolling successfully for the rest of the school year. And so without further ado, I would like to present Angel Mendez. She's going to tell you guys what all resources are available specifically for Iowa educators, and then we'll get into the details of what to expect. All right.
Thank you, Gretchen. Hi, everybody. This is Angel Mendez. I'm the Communications Manager for the Iowa Governor's STEM Advisory Council. If you've never heard of the organization before, well, let me tell you in a gist. It is a resource for STEM education for Iowa educators, both in school and out of school. There are a myriad of things I could tell you about, but just know if you go to iowastem.gov, there are a list of everything you can do to get involved with them. There's a regional STEM manager who is charged with making sure that you're aware of those opportunities and linking you up with those that are most appropriate to you. One of those is why we're here today, called Code Iowa. And that's our attempt to localize the Hour of Code to Iowa and getting more Iowans, whether it's parents, grandparents, kids, educators, business people, lawmakers, you name it, everyone across Iowa to try 1 hour of computer coding during Computer Science Education Week, which is December 5th through the 11th, I believe, just 2 weeks away. And so with Code Iowa, what we do, it's really a two-part thing. The first part is we give away what we call Code Iowa Technology Awards. We're giving away 6 this year. However, that application closed just last Friday. So that opportunity has since closed, but it's an annual thing. They're $3,500 to buy instructional technology for your classroom. Both are sponsored by Google and Verizon. They've been gracious partners in that capacity. And so we'll be announcing who those awardees are during Computer Science Education Week. However, there's still a thing for you to get involved in, and that is you need to register your event on the Hour of Code website. If you go to hourofcode.com and just scroll towards the bottom of the page, there's a Join Us place where you put, what your organization is, what your first and last name is, I think an email, very simple, just to say that, yes, I'm hosting an event in Iowa and this is what it's going to look like. And your name will be put on a list on the Hour of Code website where we'll pull from and say, these are all of the organizations in Iowa that participate in the Hour of Code. They are now deemed certified Code Iowa partners, is what we call them. And every one of those people on that list will be eligible for computer science trainings that we are planning. Some in partnership with Codable, some with Oracle Academy, and some with Code.org as well, coming in the spring and summer of 2017. So if you haven't already, register your event on that website, and we'll make sure you get added to that list. Otherwise, I think Gretchen said we wanted to open it for a couple of questions. Gretchen, are you seeing any yet that that we can address in regards to the STEM Council and what we do?
I'm not seeing any yet. We can wait a couple seconds and see if we have any roll in. I should have said ahead of time, you guys can send us questions through Twitter at Codable if you're following and you want to use social media. If you want to use the chat, we've got a chat up here on the left-hand side if you're in Google Hangouts. Otherwise, if you want to post to the YouTube page where you're watching live, you can also do that. So I've got all of those things up. If you want to post your question, we'll wait a couple minutes or a minute or so and see if we have anything roll in. I have a couple of questions for you, Angel, just while we're waiting. So what do you think is one of the challenges that Iowa educators are facing, getting started with an hour of code? Is there anything that you guys do to kind of help them overcome that?
I think the biggest thing is it's not a new topic at all. Computer science has been around for a while, but it's a new topic. There's not a lot of people who are actually doing it in the schools, and that's because right now Iowa doesn't really have a system of getting more computer science into the schools and out of the schools as well. You think of libraries, museums, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. There's all sorts of organic organizations taking this on too. And I think code.org does a really great job of getting those people who are first hearing about computer science and connecting the dots of how to get that going. So instead of us trying to create that, what we've done is really latching on to code.org and really promoting that as strongly as we can across the state as a means to get that going. And from there, they can take it and run with it and make it what they want. Because like I said, at this point, there's not really a system in place that says kind of what that's going to look like. There is, however, last year there was some state legislation that was turned down. However, I believe there is more coming down the pipe, we could say, that is focused on computer science that we can hope to see pass this year as well. I don't know too many details on that, but I think in the coming month I might have more information. So if you're interested at all in following that, you can always reach out to me as well, and I can share it when I know it.
Okay, and then it's good to hear what you guys are doing, at a state level, but what are some of the things that people can find locally if they, are reaching out to try and find some support within their town or city? Do you know where they can look for that?
I would point you to, we have 6 regional STEM managers across the state, and those, we broke Iowa up into 6 pieces of the pie, and in each of those regions there's what we call a regional STEM manager that's housed at either one of the regent universities or at a community college. And that person is the one that's really charged with making sure that that educator, whether they're in school or out of school, is connected with those opportunities that they're interested in. So at the state level, me being just the voice of STEM, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, oh, there's, this organization in this, southern part of Iowa that's really good. That would be something that our managers would know, and they're really good about connecting those pieces for us. So if you have an interest in learning more about who your regional manager is, you go to iowastem.gov/regions, and I'll put this in the chat now.
Perfect.
And they can find their regional manager there based on what city they are located in.
Awesome. Okay, great. And then my last question, I'm not seeing anything coming in. Let me check Twitter one more time. But do you know, I know that a big concern for a lot of people when they're talking about getting started with coding, and especially taking it beyond, the hour of code, is cost. And there's a lot of free things that are available, but, for people who, they want to do a full K-5 rollout, or, K-12 even, cost can be, a major concern for them. What are some ways that they can go about finding financial resources, and what are some that exist, just to give people an idea of what's available for them?
Well, I can think of 2 things off the top of my head. The first one is pretty easy, and that's kind of what I mentioned earlier. If you're wanting to continue pursuing computer science down the road beyond, just in the next 2 weeks, we have those computer science trainings. So again, you'll want to make sure you get your event registered. And what happens then is we put you on a list. We'll send you information about all these trainings that we're planning on having in the spring and summer. And those trainings are naturally free already, which is great. However, to get out of the classroom and to actually go to these trainings, there's travel that you have to take on. And there's also the fact that you have to pay for a substitute teacher to take over the classroom while you're gone. And what's nice through us, again, through Google and Verizon, we're able to help supplement those additional costs beyond the actual training to actually get you there to participate. The second thing, too, is what the STEM Council really wants to do is help bring communities together. We want businesses and educators to connect because that's what's ultimately going to help feed the future talent pipeline of Iowa. And that community is going to look different across the state. There are different sort of industries in each of these little communities. So maybe you have a business in your city that is really reliant on technology or is really reliant on computer science. Take this idea to them. Say, we want to get, Codable in our classroom, or we want to get, some other known computer science software to teach our students these ins and outs of it. Reach out to them, bring them the cost, pitch it to them. Businesses are more eager to get involved with the schools than I think most of us really imagine, and that's one of the things that we've seen through the STEM Council, because we are so involved not only with education but also with economic development. I think if you just reach out to the local community aspect and tap into that, you're really going to see some things happen.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm not saying anything, but can I share with people who have questions, maybe at the end or throughout? Can I share your contact information with them?
Oh yeah, of course. Please do.
Okay, perfect. I will post that on the YouTube page and on the event page and Facebook as well, so that they have that. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great evening and a happy Thanksgiving.
Yep. Thanks, Gretchen.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, everybody. So that was Angel, and it sounds like there's a lot of great things out there for everybody, who's interested in going beyond an hour of code, but also getting started. We've got a lot of really cool opportunities in Iowa, and to be honest with you all, there's things that are offered in Iowa that I haven't seen in many other states, and so you guys are very fortunate. I'm really excited to be partnering with the governor's office and with Iowa STEM and with Code Iowa. It's really exciting to see, them making a change in their state. So that's really great. We're going to go ahead and jump into, what the Hour of Code is, why it's important, and go from there. So the Hour of Code is an event that started about 3 years ago through a partnership between Code.org and Computer Science Education Week, and these two groups got together. They wanted to take an opportunity to promote computer science to every person, especially students, so that they can see what it can do to just try 1 hour of coding. And so that naturally, with the name came about, the Hour of Code. The week changes every year, but it's usually the first week of December, and that's Computer Science Education Week. And so it's a really big movement to get kids just excited about computer science, to get your communities excited about computer science, to get your colleagues and your administrators excited about what can come of showing kids, maybe not expecting every child to become a programmer, but just showing them the opportunities that are available for learning how to code and what kind of things can open up to them if they do decide to pursue learning to code. And so, it's a really fun week. It's my favorite week of the year. It's the biggest holiday for me. So it's just very exciting. There's such a great sense of community that comes out of it because everybody's sharing about it and everyone's talking, and there's a real buzz in the school that you don't always feel. It's easy to get caught up in the procedures and the day-to-day grind, but it's just a really fun way to learn new things, learn problem solving in an interesting way that we don't do every year, or every day. So that's a little bit about, the hour of code and why it's important. Obviously, learning to code is a very important thing for our future and for our nation and for our kids. There's going to be 2 million open computer science jobs by 2020, and so having kids be prepared to go into the workforce with a little bit of an understanding of computer science, if not fluent in a programming language, gives them a huge opportunity when they do enter the workforce and when they go to college and beyond. And so doing everything that we can to prepare them for that is crucial. So we'll go ahead and jump into what to expect with the hour of code and how you can get started. We're going to focus mostly on Codable and how to get started with Codable. But I do want to mention is just a phenomenal partner. We've been partnering with them for 3 years, along with a lot of other companies, and they provide tons and tons of tutorials for free for educators to get started. This year we have 19 that we have promoted through code.org, and I know that there's hundreds of others that are available. And so if you go to code.org/learn, you can find a lot of great resources available, the Hour of Code website as well. There's a lot of great stuff to view and to sort of figure out what you think is best for your students and what you want to work on. Or take a look at what's available and keep going. Our perspective, but I know we do a lot of work. We started about in August, getting our tutorials prepared so that it would be as easy as possible for people to just find us on, that site and kind of go through, every step of the way. We hold their hand and make sure that they're ready for the big event during the Hour of Code. And so you'll find that a lot of the tutorial partners are very eager to help, very willing to, guide you if you do have questions, but the tutorials are really helpful in knowing exactly what you can do with your students. I know this year, Code.org is excited to be promoting more lesson plans. We've provided lesson plans just about every year that we've participated, but I know a lot of others are providing lesson plans as well. So let's go ahead and dive in, and I'll be sure to answer any questions that come up. So if you do have questions, there's a chat window on the side of the YouTube page where this is streaming. You can also comment, or you can tweet at me. Again, our Twitter handle is @Codable, and so you can always tweet @Codable, and I'll be sure to answer your questions. So if no one has questions right now, then I'll keep going. All right, so you can find all of the Codable Hour of Code resources at codable.com/hour-of-code, and I'll go ahead and show you what we've got available there. Let's see here. I've been working really hard at getting this up and ready for you guys, so I'm excited for you to see it. Okay, so you can see here, this is our Hour of Code site. We've got a lot of great resources here. If you want to go to our lesson plans, we've got over 19 lesson plans. Our curriculum director has been working tirelessly at assembling all of these for you guys. She was an elementary school teacher for many years, and she's been working with us for the past year and just completely revamped our curriculum, but she's thrilled to be able to offer you guys some Hour of Code specific tutorials. So if you click on any of these, you can see we've got 4 categories. We've got beginner programming, advanced programming, robotics, and then what I'm most excited about this year is ELA and programming. We know that for a big challenge is finding time in the day for computer science, and how can you fit it into your schedule and there's already so many things we need to teach. How in the world am I going to teach something new? Well, the way to, sort of fit it in is integrating it with what you're already teaching. And so we put together an ELA lesson plan, and then you can see the standards that are taught with each of these lessons on these icons. A lesson plan that covers a standard for each grade level in writing, and also helps teach some programming. So let's go ahead and take a look at the kindergarten one. The way that our lessons are structured is it follows a typical lesson structure, a lesson cycle. We do a few minutes of direct instruction where we open up and start a discussion with students about what is computer science and why is this important, and put it in terms that they can understand and relate it to their world. And this is all completely scripted, you can see here. And then we introduce the new material. We talk about what we're going to be doing here, why it's important, and how we can work together. And in this example, they're going to be doing sentence puzzles. So putting together a sentence and learning the structure of a sentence. And how that relates to sequence, which is an important concept in programming. It's really the first and most fundamental concept that we teach to students, especially for kindergartners. We start putting things in order. A computer is a machine that reads things in a very specific order. It will only read things in the order that we tell it to. And so that is why putting things in the correct order is the most important thing to learn, and the most foundational concept for students when we're getting started with computer science. And with programming. And so that's what we go over in this lesson. And obviously there's some clear tie-ins to ELA. And so Bree, our curriculum director, has done a fantastic job in putting together these lesson plans so that you can do some writing with your kids while you're doing some programming. And then after doing the direct instruction, you can move into some guided practice where everybody works together. So using a sentence puzzle, follow their own graphic organizers, and they'll be able to copy a sentence puzzle and fill it out. And they do that together. And then independent practice, you can do a little bit of programming together. And so each lesson, finishes with a closing exit ticket, making sure that everybody really understands what we learned here today, what is sequence, what are sentences, and how are they structured, and going on from there. And each of these ELA lesson plans is actually set up to be appropriate for, to be appropriate for each grade level. So in 5th grade, rather than doing sentence puzzles, they're writing a short story, doing a little bit of creative writing, and working together on that. So. And that's just our ELA lesson plans. We have robotics, which features Dash and Dot of Wonder Workshop, some advanced programming, so you can start learning some JavaScript and object-oriented programming with your upper elementary students, doing conditions and advanced sequencing with your kindergartners. So these are some of our advanced lesson plans, and they all follow that same structure of direct instruction, independent practice, and then some direct instruction, guided practice, and then independent practice. With the final section of independent practice being done in Codable on screen. Everything else is done off screen together as a class. So that really helps give kids a tangible example of what you're going to be learning, why it's important, and relating it to their real world and to their day-to-day, which is crucial when you're talking about such abstract technological concepps. And so once you complete, the first 2 sections of these lessons, where you make sure you introduce the vocabulary, you do the direct instruction, you do a guided practice activity together. In this one, it's a dance party where you put together a loop to music. Say the chicken dance. You're going to repeat portions, which would be a programming concept called a loop, and then you can. Once you've done those 2 sections, you can jump into independent practice, for 5 to 10, 15 minutes where the kids are coding together or independently on their devices. So it's really a holistic approach to teaching CS, making sure that we're taking things, slowly and off screen, in learning it in a lot of different ways for every type of learner, and then coming together at the end and bringing out the technology and really putting our new concept into practice. So you can find all of these lesson plans, like I said, on our Hour of Code landing page. Down here at the bottom, I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat window for you. And that's where you can go to find all of those. Does anybody have any questions on anything that I've covered so far? Let me just check all my locations for questions. Doesn't look like yet. Okay, so let us go ahead and continue. So once you have your lesson plan and you've decided what you want to do, there's a couple of things you're going to need to set up for your kids to get started. You know, you do the lesson and then you want them to be able to, you know, as quickly as possible or as seamlessly as possible with a class full of, you know, 20 elementary school students to jump into their independent practice portion. And so where you're going to have them go is this section right here. Students get started, play now. That's going to take them to game.codable.com/hour-of-code. If you have a Codable class set up and you want to use that, you can click play with a class or student code. If you don't have a Codable account, a Codable teacher account, or a class set up, just click play without saving, and that'll let them create a session right here just for the Hour of Code without having to set it up ahead of time. And then they're off and running straight into Codable, and they can get going and learning, you know, right just by hitting play. And that'll take them to the first lesson.
Blue fuzz, get to the end of the maze.
So you can see it's really self-guided.
Need to go first?
Once they've been taught about this concept of sequence, which is what we're learning here, they can jump in and start doing some coding on their own. And you just might want to mill around the room. If you have a parent who's there volunteering to help, that's always helpful too. But they just start solving the puzzles and doing some problem solving and learning about sequence. Dragging and dropping the arrows and putting them into the correct sequence. If you're going to be doing a more advanced concept, then you're probably an experienced Codable user. And so I would suggest signing in with your class code. I'll show you how to do that real quickly. But first, if you want them to be able to come back later, just copy this student code and they can log in with this another day. If you want to use your class code and do an advanced lesson, you can do your class code to game.codable.com and hit play with class code. I'm going to enter my class code. And then the students will be able to select their name from this list, from the roster that I've imported ahead of time. So I'm going to choose my name. And then depending on what lesson you're doing, you will have them go to the corresponding levels in Codable. So let's say we wanted to do let's say we wanted to do conditions with our students, which is the first grade advanced concept. I would have them log in and go to the section on conditions that corresponds with what's on the lesson plan. And you can see the corresponding levels. You can see the corresponding levels here. So we're going to do, loops. Sorry, not conditions, it's loops. So you're going to do loopy lessons 3.1 to 3.5. And you'll be able to find that in the game. And they'll be able to log in and find those. So loopy lessons, here you go. 1 through 5. that's the ones that they're going to be doing. And this will take them between 10 and 15 minutes to do. All of our lessons are about 50 minutes long, which seems to be the standard for what, the time that most people have set aside for this. So that's how to get started with Codable and use Codable for the hour of code. But I want to go ahead and jump into, what to expect the day of, and how you can kind of build excitement around the hour of code. So hold on just a second, and I'll stop. So there's some things that you can do to really build excitement on the day of, and to know what to expect if this is your first hour of code. A lot of people, have been doing it for a few years, but if it's your first time, there's plenty of people around you, whether it's on social media or, Angel or, the local STEM representative who can help you kind of get started. There's a lot of people who you can reach out to for advice, but I'll just quickly run through some of the things that I see and, talk about what to expect on the day of. So there's always the expectation that things need to go perfectly, and as an elementary school teacher, you know that things are always going to come up, and there's always going to be some transitions and some learning opportunities for every lesson. And so the hour of code is no different. Just because it's different material doesn't mean that your lesson needs to be any different. So what you do, what to expect is to just know that developers do their best to make their sites run effectively and efficiently, but there's going to be times where it doesn't work or the servers are overloaded, and just have a screen-free option as a backup. I know that may seem counterintuitive to learning to code, but with elementary school kids, it's actually the best way to get started. And so that's why all of our lessons can be completed offline. The group practice is a big part of learning and is all done offline and unplugged. So using any of our lesson plans, you'll have a screen-free option available if for some reason a site's not working. The other thing to expect is just lots of excitement and joy and learning. We have a lot of great student resources, to show your kids some videos of other kids talking about why it's fun to learn to code and why it's important and what are some things that they've learned. And I'll share that with you in the resources section at the end of the webinar. But there's also some great resources available through code.org. They've got some great videos of celebrities talking about why it's important to learn to code, to kind of build the hype before you get into the lesson. And so I would say to do some of that, and then also expect a lot of interest from parents and other teachers. Don't be afraid to invite others to come into your classroom and just sit and watch. Inevitably, they're going to jump in and they're going to want to be involved and they're going to get their hands dirty with you. So you always have a network of people to fall back on if things aren't going exactly the way that you planned. And then the other thing is to expect to have a lot of questions from kids about things, and use your normal teaching strategies for answering those questions. Ask 3 Then Me. Ask your partner, think, pair, share, doing some things to help take the pressure off of you to have all of the answers and work together to problem solve. That's one of the beautiful things about learning to code, is it's such a great way to reach out to others and use a community to learn things and really foster that culture within your classroom. So those are some things to expect. I'll go ahead and quickly walk you through how you can get started and get rolling for after the hour of code. And the best way to do that is to create a Codable teacher account so that you can log in with a class code and you can have your students saving their progress easily and seamlessly and logging in with, with the full roster ahead of time. So I'll quickly walk you through that. And yeah, so but if anybody has any questions, feel free to send them my way. I'm listening. Okay. So go ahead and share my screen. Now from the Hour of Code site, from our Hour of Code page, you can get started. Select teacher. You're going to put in your contact information. I'm going to be a teacher. And it's just going to walk you through, what we were talking about how our lessons are structured, and how you can teach with Codable and how our curriculum is set up. This is a quick, tutorial about direct instruction, group practice, independent practice, walking you through using sequence as the example. I'll go ahead and log into my account so that you can see what it looks like once you're through all of this. So once you're in here, you can see there's videos explaining each concept, and then there's you've got a classes and students page, and you can actually track your students' progress. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to add a class. You just need to set up your class name. So I'm going to name mine Room 5G. My class code, this can be anything. I suggest it being something that is easier for your students to remember, like your school mascot or your school street name, or their classroom or your last name, something that they're going to be able to easily remember. I'm going to just generate one. You can also have one generated for you. You can change this at any time if you'd like. For time, I'm going to go ahead and generate it. And then you just add your students. So I've got You can also copy and paste these from a spreadsheet if you'd like. All right, so it's all ready. And then I'm going to go to my class and I can see all my students. So that's how you go ahead and get your students imported. But the real place to go is our curriculum page. And this is where you're going to find all the lesson plans for getting started with Codable and going beyond just the Hour of Code. If you're just getting started teaching computer science, the Hour of Code is a great way to do that. And our lesson plans make it super simple to get started. But I welcome you to explore this over the holiday break and kind of get a feel for some of the things that we offer to go beyond an Hour of Code. We really make it easy to offer a K-5 scaffolded curriculum to your students and to your entire school. If the Hour of Code is a success and if you really enjoy it and you say, how can I get more of this? We offer a lot of these lesson plans for free. You can try each and every one of our concepts with your students, so you can see object-oriented programming with your upper elementary, and you can get into some sequencing and conditions with your kindergartners and first graders. I'll show you one of those just so you can get an idea of what it looks like. You can see it looks really similar to our Hour of Code lesson plans, completely scripted, guided practice, independent practice, really getting the kids thinking offline and online. And then each of these units offers an overview, an explanation of the concept. So if you're thinking, how am I going to teach about computer science if I don't know what it is? Bree has done a fantastic job of breaking it down, each concept, so that you can jump in feeling prepared, explaining what this concept is, how it relates to programming in a short, quick video, and then also with examples down below. So you can never, you never have to feel like you don't know what you're teaching. Each of these is really easy to get through. And so that is what I would suggest doing. If you decide you want to go beyond an hour of code, go ahead and get started, set up your class. You don't have to use it for the hour of code, but it will be helpful for getting students signed in if you decide to. And let me just check and see if we've got any questions. Let's see here. It doesn't look like we've got any questions. So that is it. If anybody has any questions, you can always reach out to me, Gretchen@Codable.com. I'm going to write my name in the chat. Or you can reach out to Angel. She's super helpful. She's a great resource, and she'll be able to point you in the right direction for how to get help locally in Iowa. And I really am excited for you guys to get started with the Hour of Code. If you have, some exciting stories during that week, feel free to tweet them at us or share them with us. We love hearing from teachers, especially that week. So yeah, all right, everybody. Thank you so much, and have a happy Thanksgiving.